Thank you guys for joining us again, Life is TLC. I'm Jay. Laura's not able to be with us today. However, we have a special guest, Holly. She is a kidney donor, and she has an amazing story, and we wanted to share that with you guys today. How you doing, Holly?
I am doing very good. Thank you for having me.
Great. No, thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on. So can you just give us a brief kind of summary as to how you're now, obviously, I don't know, how long has it been since you donated?
December 14th. So just about 4 months.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yeah.
Wow, you're doing great to be 4 months.
Oh, I feel amazing. Like, I don't even feel like I even had surgery.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a lot to talk about. Okay, so so how did it come about that you wanted to be a donor? Is this something that has always been on your radar, or did you have?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, like growing up in high school and stuff, I did like blood donations and stuff. And then I had a very dear friend when I lived in Ohio who has lupus, and we would always talk about that if she ever needed a kidney, I would be her girl.
Okay.
Well, so it kind of just put it in my mind, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then just through life, we just kind of lost contact. And as far as I know, she's doing okay. Mm-hmm. But it's something that it just, it was always kind of in my mind, I guess, but I never took any kind of steps forward to it. Yeah. And then I would say about maybe maybe a year and a half ago or so.
Okay.
I did a small group through church. We have a very large church. And one of the things we do to kind of help people get to know other people is we do all these different kind of small groups. And so I joined a women's small group, and I met my kidney recipient's wife through this group.
Okay. Wow.
And found out about his need. I mean, I kind of knew of them through the church. I serve in the nursery, and I seen their little twins a good bit, but I never really actually knew them. And so it was probably, I would say, from the time I found out that he needed a kidney, it was probably maybe 9 months.
Oh, okay.
Before I took initiative, because I didn't know how they felt about, I don't know. And I just didn't want to seem like a weirdo and be like, hey, I know you don't know me, but I would like to give you a kidney. So I waited, and she had made a Facebook post one day, and at the bottom of the post, she put, "We are still in need of a donor." And I just thought, thank you, Lord. There's my opportunity to reach out.
There you go. And
I did. That night I did. I reached out to her. I found out, the process of what I needed to do to start the whole thing. This process made me realize that I am a very impatient person.
Oh, yeah.
And so she gave me the number that I could call and the information I needed. But that night I just thought, there's got to be something online. There's got to be like an application online. So I went to, we live in Alabama. So I went to UAB's website, and sure enough, I found the online application. I filled it out.
Wow. Just like that. It's funny,
like that.
It's funny that you mentioned the patience thing. I'm not big on patience myself. So you can only imagine. And the thing is that you think it's, well, you would hope it's just like, okay, I'll do this blood draw. Oh, we're a match. Okay, let's move to the next step. Okay, that step is done. Let's go ahead and get through but it's nothing like that, right? There's a lot of waiting, hurry up to wait kind of thing, right?
Yes.
Going on.
Yes.
So yeah, that had to make you really anxious. So when you tested, how long did it take for them to get back with you to say, hey, you're a match?
So it was about a week and a half after I filled the application out.
Okay.
And I heard from the team to let me know that my initial application was approved. And at the time, I was also starting nursing school.
Oh.
And I had one free day before my life was consumed with work and school. And so when they called me to set up my day of testing, I asked her what was the soonest they had available. And they said, well, we have Thursday. And I thought, well, that's the day I have available.
Oh, wow. It was just destined to be like that. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I went for that full day of testing, and I think that was in August. And I think it was probably maybe 3 weeks or so.
Okay.
Maybe not even 3 weeks when I found out we were actually a match.
Okay.
And then I had to do a few extra little tests and then wait for the results. But then September 16th is when I got the official 100% approval.
Wow. And so how was the donors' reaction? I mean, were they just ecstatic? I mean, how did that conversation go? That's
well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I know from my point of view, and like my coordinator and stuff, like, they don't communicate
right
with the recipient, and so until they, I guess, have confirmation, I don't know. Right. But because I knew them, I kept in contact with them the whole time I was doing, testing and stuff. Okay. To just give them updates on where I was in the testing phases and what information I had. And his wife, would say, well, we haven't heard anything. And so I just try to keep them updated,
Right.
And honestly, I don't know. Like, I think they had some previous people try, and kind of things were falling through. Yeah. And so I don't know how they felt about it personally, but for me, I feel like it would kind of just, you almost don't want to get your hopes up, because you've been waiting for so long. And so then when I finally did get the actual 100% approval, I messaged my coordinator and I asked her, can I please tell them? Because I didn't know how long it would be before they would hear. So I sent her a message on Facebook, or I texted her, and she was taking too long to respond. So I called her.
There's that patience thing again, right?
I know. So on my way home from work that evening, I called her.
Yeah.
To let her know that I was approved to donate my left kidney. And she just started crying. And so then I started crying.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. And to think, because I've heard stories before where perfect strangers have from across the country connect. And then I've even heard stories similar to yours where, someone met at, I think it was one of their kids' karate classes, and somebody, it's just really how that happens. And it just takes people like you to kind of step up and say, and also get themselves educated on what you're getting into and research it. So how was the research? Was the research, did the research live up to the actual, how everything happened for you, how the transplant went?
I mean, I think so. And I work in surgery. So I don't work with transplants, but I kind of knew a little bit as far as like it being laparoscopic, and I knew what it would entail and things like that. But from the moment I decided to do this, every day I was looking stuff up. I was looking up how long it would take to find out information. I was looking up the different ways the procedure was done. I was a basket case looking up stuff all the time because I wanted to know everything.
Yes, exactly. Of course.
And I was watching YouTube videos all the time. So, I mean, for the most part, I feel like I was pretty prepared. And I guess, I mean, aside from going into surgery itself is nerve-wracking, but everybody, my friends and my family were very, very supportive.
Good.
And they're like, oh my gosh, aren't you nervous? And I'm like, you know what? I was not.
Oh, wow.
I just had so much peace about it. And I just felt like I was called to do this, and I had to do it.
I find that to be a common theme of everyone, a lot of people I've spoken with. Like, it's just it's a calling, right? It's a purpose.
Yeah.
Like there's some people who may say, oh, well, I want to, and then they don't, I'll put it off or whatever. But then you for you to actually follow through with it, you know,
Yeah.
that's just amazing, because it's one of those things, like, you have to really have strong conviction to say, look, I'm going to do this and nothing's going to deter me.
Yeah.
It was great that you had a strong support system because as
Yeah.
well, and everyone was encouraging you and rooting you on. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that just gives you extra strength, you know, that you
It
have
does.
your community behind you, your family behind you, and it's, you know, despite the fact you were already strong-willed about it. So that was
I
great.
was.
Yeah. That was
The
great.
night that I put in the application, the initial application, I came in and I sat down at the table with my daughter. She's 14, and my mom, and I said, so I filled in an application to be a kidney donor. And my kid, she's 14, she goes, oh, well, that's awesome. You should do it.
Wow.
And then my mom, being a mom, of course, you know, she was apprehensive about, you know, well, what if something happens, or what if later somebody in our family needs one? And I said, you know, there's always a bunch of what ifs.
Yeah, there is.
But I said, I can't not do this based on a bunch of what ifs that never may happen.
Yeah.
When I know this person does need one right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like, you know, if for some reason down the road something were to happen and it was my daughter, I would just have to trust in God that things would be okay. You know, I just but just knowing that someone needed it now, I couldn't just not do anything.
And that's just that, you know, that's just, like I said, I'm just amazed that when I hear these stories, because it's, you know, we are, as a country right now, everybody is so, you know, I don't know, everything is something to know that there's still like people who are just selfless and want to help other people and go that extra mile is, you know, it's just awesome to still know we have a lot of people like that. And it just reaffirms that for me every time I speak to somebody. So, and I wanted to know, Axel, so like I said, you're doing great. Like, you look great for 4 months out, even. And then with it being like the pandemic and everything, how did that kind of affect the planning of the surgery at all, or no?
I mean, no, not really. I had so at the time I was still in school, and I got approved in September, but I had to wait until the end of my semester so that I was in between, so that I would have 4 weeks in between school for recovery. Work wasn't a problem. I was able to get time off work, and that worked out fine. But I knew that like December 14th was like the day that I really, really needed. Because it was going to give me a full 4 weeks of recovery. And so when it got closer to that date, I was nervous, not for surgery itself, but because I knew, like, we had surgery on a Monday, and so we went and got COVID tested that Friday before.
Okay.
And I knew that if either one of us had tested positive, they were going to cancel it.
Yeah.
And at the time, surgeries, even just from my experience working in surgeries were, sometimes we would hear about surgeries canceling a lot. And then UAB is a big, humongous hospital here in Alabama. It's a big teaching hospital. And I knew somebody that worked in surgery there. And so I had kind of communicated with her, you know, wanting to know, like, do they foresee, you know, them canceling elective surgeries and stuff? Because at the time, like, I didn't know if they would consider this elective or not. And so I was nervous. But for the 2 weeks before, I stayed home. I made my kids stay home.
Yeah.
Because I was like, we are not getting exposed.
Yeah.
And then I was at work one day, and one of my reps at work said, you got to quit worrying. He said, I don't think God would have brought you this far to let it fall through.
Yeah. And
I was like, you know what? You're right. I have to trust in him and know that this is going to work out.
Right. Yeah.
And so, and it did.
Yeah,
We were all good. Neither one of us got it. Our surgeons didn't get it, so it worked out great.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I just, always wonder about that because obviously, like you said, is this elective or not? But I was going to ask because how far along was the person that you donated to? Because were they on dialysis or
yes?
Okay, so
he was.
at that point it wouldn't be considered elective as much as just necessary, right? So
right, I would. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So let me ask you: was there anything that what was the most challenging part of this whole ordeal for you? Like, was there a challenging part at all as far as being a donor or anything like that? Was the testing everything just went smooth and as planned?
Everything. I mean, everything went so smooth. I mean, there was a few things like during the testing when I had to like redo a few tests because something came back, whatever. At one point they told me I had a stone. And so I thought, oh no. And so I had to go through testing to find out if that was something that was going to be reoccurring or if it was just like diet based. And so I was constantly checking my emails, like, did they find something else out? Like, I need to know. But I mean, everything worked out just fine. And so there wasn't, I mean, recovery was, I mean, I knew it was going to be rough, I mean, I knew it was a major surgery. So I knew that it was going to be a little rough. But I don't think I realized how rough, I guess. I mean, it was the only major surgery I've ever had.
Wow. Okay.
And so at one point, it was probably like maybe 4.5, 5 weeks after, I thought, am I ever going to feel normal again? Like, can I please sleep in my bed?
Yeah.
Can I please lay flat? But
oh yeah.
Other than that, really, I mean, there was no huge challenges for me.
Good. One big thing though, you mentioned, and I know I can really attest to this. If there's anything remotely wrong with you or anything like issues going on, they'll find out because these exams are just so thorough. So thorough.
They leave no stone unturned.
No, it's
like, I mean, they check inside, outside, up and down. I mean,
yeah, they do. They do. And they want to just make sure again. So it's almost like you're getting the extreme physical and also donating at the same time because you find out there's any pre-existing conditions for you might not even know of, right? So,
right. Yes. Yeah. Like my coordinator told me there was one girl that was really wanting to donate to her mother, and her whole life she never knew it, but during her testing she found out she only had one kidney.
Is that right?
That she was born. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And so
wow,
it's like that is just so crazy.
That is crazy. It's also crazy that once you donate, and I'm sure you found that out, that your remaining kidney gets larger, right? To kind of take the place of the other one that you donated. So that's just, to me, that was just mind blowing when I found that out too.
I know. I mean, I am just still amazed. Like the whole process just amazes me.
Yeah.
The fact that two complete strangers, that didn't even really know each other, that have no blood relation, end up being a match.
Yeah.
To where you can give your organ to another human being. Like, I just think the whole process is amazing, and the way that we are created is just unbelievable.
It is. It's, I mean, the technological advances we've made in just the last 20 years, like, short story, my mom actually was on dialysis. She needed dialysis and she needed a kidney. And back then, I don't think, this is in the 90s, I don't think we could have even imagined doing what they can do now as far as like they can do kidney swaps where it could be like, 20, 30 people exchanging organs and just so this one person over here or whatever the case might be, combination, so if you weren't, let's say you were donating to me, obviously, and you weren't a match, you can donate to somebody else, they can get one to me. and you
Yes.
know, it's just a chain, and it's just awesome. I don't think that's something that's probably developed probably in the last 20, 25 years, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
That's just so awesome to be able to have that technology out of hands, and that you're at a great hospital too. So that makes a difference as well.
Yeah.
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 So what would you say is the best part of the whole ordeal? I mean, now are you still in contact with the family? Or?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I did. I actually went and watched their little twins play soccer the other day.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And there's nothing cuter than a bunch of 5 and 6 year olds trying to run around and play soccer.
Yeah.
Like
right.
They're so cute. They're going in the wrong direction. Yeah. They're so cute.
Yeah. I'm just so happy to be out there too. Just you know,
and he's the coach for the team.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he says everything is still working great.
Good, great. I'm you guys he's actually very blessed, and I just you know, it's just a great thing that you, like I said, that you're able to do that. And like you mentioned, that two people not even blood related, you wouldn't even imagine that can, you know, just what was the chances of you being a match though, you know? So
I know
just that alone was just, you know, just something that's just so amazing. So I'm sorry, I probably interrupted you, but what did you say was the best part for you? Is this best part of the experience for you?
Just the feeling of knowing that he's going to get to have a healthier life to spend with his children.
Yeah.
You know, he's got little kids, and the quality of his life is just going to be better for him and his wife to be able to just spend time with each other and be there with his kids.
Yeah.
Like that to me is just the most amazing part.
Yeah. So
that something like this can give somebody such a different life.
Mm-hmm. Right. The quality of life just goes through the roof. It's almost like giving somebody a second chance of life, because you get used to a certain quality of life, and then you know, when you get transplanted, it's a new lease on life. Really, it is, and it's a gift that, you know, I'm sure he can speak for that as well. But it's just so amazing, because there's nothing that we can repay. You know, as human beings, we can't repay. You're giving the gift, you're literally giving him the gift of life. So to, you know, just it's to even think about that, like you said, it's just you know, it has to be a blessing. It's just, you know, it's the way that we're created by God is just something that you just can't. No engineer could dream that up.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I just feel like, especially right now, I think that this country sometimes it just feels so divided.
Yeah.
And I feel like when this right here, the fact that two people that are strangers that have no relation to each other whatsoever, can happen. I just feel like it just goes to show you that we are all more alike than we see. You know, we are all more alike than we are different.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know. Like I try not to be nosy with the family, and I don't want to pry too much. You know, they can share with me however they want, you know, with whatever feelings they have, but I don't ever want them to ever feel like they just can't thank me enough. Like I don't want them to feel like, I don't know how to explain it. Or to feel like, you know, they can never thank me enough, because just being able to see them enjoy their life together and their life with their children is enough for me. Like I don't even need to thank you. Just being able to see them enjoy their life is just enough for me.
Yeah. And that's, you know, that's within itself. Like I totally get what you're saying, but you know, it's this and I wasn't fortunate enough to be able to meet my donor family or communicate with them. So that was, for me, that was a big disappointment. But you know, who knows what the future holds? But it's just they're able actually to reach out to you and express their thanks and gratitude, and you're able to see the kids, you're able to see them, they're able to see it. To me, this, I think it's really awesome that also you being a live donor, that you can still be able to live your life and go on and do everything you want to do, and also give that to another person. To me, that's just a win-win, kind of thing for everybody. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Like just the other day, Saturday, I went up to Tennessee with one of my best friends, me and her and the kids, and we did like almost a 6-mile hike.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I felt just like I did 4 months ago.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I wanted to know also, there's a lot of, I don't know, what would I say, misconceptions that people have about donation. Like if I give, one of the main ones I hear, and I hope I'm not stealing your thunder here, but one of the main ones I hear is, oh, well, if I sign up to be a donor on my license, then something happens to me, I go in the hospital, they're going to automatically snatch my organs out, and they're not going to care for me as much as they would. Could you clear up some of those misconceptions? What would you say is the number one misconception that you probably heard or wanted to clear up?
As far as being an organ donor?
Yeah.
I think that is a lot of people's, they feel like, oh, well, they're not even going to try. But being in the medical field myself, and I've even helped on not transplants, but when we have to do procurements, when someone has passed away and they are an organ donor, they definitely do, make sure that it is the right, you know what I mean? Like they're not going to give you lack of care.
Right.
They're going to do everything in their power to make, to help you live. Yeah. They're not just going to be like, well, you're an organ donor, so you've had a bad wreck, so we're not going to work on you. That is not, that is not the oath of any medical professional.
No.
Ever.
No.
They go through an extensive, brain function tests and things like that to make sure, if there's brain function there, then they are going to proceed with caring for you as though you are going to survive.
Right.
And so, no, they don't just go in and start, taking your organs.
No.
And I know there's, my grandmother, bless her, I love her. She is not an organ donor. And she says that what she was born with, she's going to leave with. And I hate to tell her, but when you do pass away, you're not buried with your organs.
No.
And I just feel like, and when you do pass away, what need do you have for them?
No, you don't. You
do not have a need for them after you pass away.
No. You can't take anything with us. That's what people don't realize. You can't take anything. You can't take anything with you.
No, nothing. So whether I'm a living donor or when I pass, if whatever is good in me, take it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever I have that is viable for somebody else, take it.
Yeah.
Because when I leave this life, I'm not taking it with me.
Mm. Yeah, that's a way, and to me, that's really I think if more of us thought of it like that, you'd see the donor rates go up. And, and right now, like part of the reason why I wanted to do this show is to being a transplant patient recipient myself, is I wanted to spread awareness. I wanted to hear other people's stories, and I wanted to show other people, hey, there's support, and there's a community this is a community of people who support one another. We're all pretty much family because we have something in common now. And like you mentioned earlier, we're more alike than we aren't alike. And so I don't think people, it's one of those things that once you realize that, it just opens up a whole new world for you. I just think, you just become a better person for it, because again, I don't think enough people really respect life in general nowadays, with everything
I don't think so either.
Yeah. I wanted to also ask you, we covered some of the challenges. You said everything went smoothly. Any misconceptions? One more thing I wanted to ask you before we go. What, for somebody who may be on the fence about donating, someone who may be, like we talked about at the top of the segment, that say, hey, that's a great thing that person is doing. I want to be able to do it. I'm not sure where to start. I don't know where to check. Where do I go online? Who do I talk to? What kind of advice would you give that person who was thinking about becoming a donor?
Research it. Research it for yourself. I mean, you can, I joined a bunch of Facebook groups and I communicated with, other donors and stuff. And it does help. It does help to hear another donor's perspective and their story and how things went for them. But do your research. If wherever you live, research the hospital that would do it. If you don't have anybody that's in particular that you're just thinking of just being an altruistic donor, research. And then for me personally, I just feel like a few weeks of discomfort for somebody else to have years of better quality. I think as a human, just human and loving our neighbors, it's not too much to ask. No. I don't think it is. And it's a few weeks of discomfort and then you go about your life and it's like 4 months later, you don't even realize you had surgery.
Yeah.
But now some people, that don't know they don't get to know their recipients. I don't know how that is for them. But especially when you get to know your recipient and you get to see it played out. It's amazing. It's amazing how good God is.
Yes. And you just mentioned something too, that you guys were able to, I think it was great that you were able to kind of schedule your when you were doing it. So in a lot of cases, there's a lot of us waiting by the phone and it's like waiting for that phone call, right? But like you said, you were able to schedule, you're able to know the person giving the organ to. I think that makes a difference. I really do think that.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, and it gives you a more, I guess, makes it more personal and makes it just a little more intimate that actually know who you're donating to. And like you said, you can see the after, before and after. So that really helps. Yeah, that's really a blessing that you're able to go through that process and like that.
And a lot of hospitals, they do, they work a lot with the donor.
Yeah.
As far as like, what works best for you, as far as scheduling testing and scheduling the surgery and stuff like that. They really do. They work it around the donor and works best for that person because, at the time, you're just living like a normal, you're going to work, you're going to school, you're taking care of your kids or whatever. And some people feel like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of, that just seems like a big disturbance in my normal.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be because they do work with you as far as, scheduling your appointments and scheduling the meetings and all that stuff.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So it doesn't disrupt your normal everyday life.
Just going to add on to your comment. I think people do. That might be a lot of times what stops people from going through with being a donor. So I'm going to interrupt my life too much, and my life is so perfect now. And and like you said, the what ifs. People are always. I think that's what kind of keeps us back from doing things that we may want to do intrinsically, and like you said, altruistically. That is what holds you back. It's what if things don't go back to normal, or what if this happens? And I think it's enough to justify not taking action.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sorry. I feel like, I mean, there's a lot of what ifs. Like, what if something happens when you get in the car? I mean, that doesn't stop you from getting in the car.
Exactly.
You know, so there's a lot of what ifs.
Yeah.
But if it's something that you're really thinking about, what ifs shouldn't stop you.
Yeah.
Because if you focus on what ifs, it's going to stop you from doing a lot of stuff.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it will. It will. It will. Well, yeah. Holly, I've been blessed to hear your story, and it's been amazing. Thank you for giving us this time. And was there anything else you wanted to add before we go? Because like I said, I just think your story is going to be so inspiring to people who may be on the fence. And again, they want to do something, they want to donate, but just don't know where to go or what to do. And you're a living testament, 4 months out.
Yeah. And I feel wonderful. I drink a lot more water now.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I bet. Yeah. Which is also a good thing that came out of it. Right. So,
oh yeah.
I mean, like I said, 4 months out is just a living testament that, you know, you're feeling great now. You're able to go hiking for six miles. You're able to do everything that you were able to do before December. So, you know, I think seeing you and hearing your story will just motivate, inspire so many people. So I just wanted to add that.
I hope it does.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sure it will.
If somebody hears that calling, I just encourage them to answer it.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing.
That's a great way to end this, our show. This has been Lifers TLC, and I'm Jay. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Thanks for joining us today.
Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss our next guest.
We need your help to spread support and awareness for organ transplant and donation.
Please share this video and channel with your friends.
Tell someone something that you learned or heard from today's guest.
Get in touch with us if you'd like to join us as a guest.
See you next time.
Peace.